Hello, everybody. I'm Erick Alonso, and I am the co-founder of CO-RESIDENCY. And today I have the honor to have a conversation with one of the artists on our first cohort. His name is Marcin Ryczek. He's a Polish photographer. Did I say that right, Marcin?
Yeah, it's right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Marcin Ryczek. Yeah.
So, Marcin, let's start from the beginning. Tell me, where were you born?
I was born in Lublin. It's a city in east side of Poland. It's near the Ukrainian and Belarusian border. Yeah, it's it's a beautiful place. Now I was born in '82, but it was little sad times in Poland. It was communist in Poland, where everything was harder because the shops was empty, and yeah, it was a little gray time, or everything was gray, not colors. But yeah, but well, it was hard times. But I think I spent a lot of time in my grandmother's house on the countryside, so I could discover some nature. It was beautiful, many colors, but the city was really sad in this time. So it is special place because it's a mix of culture with mix of religions there. And I'm really interested now the religions, the spiritual things, and the nature too. Yeah.
You know what's interesting, because the first thing that my first connection to Poland ever was Karol Wojtyla, John Paul II. That was my first ever connection with your country, the Polish Pope that pretty much changed the world, right? So I grew up in a very Catholic country, and his figure, like if I think about it, I almost think about him in a nostalgic kind of way. It was a very meaningful figure in my life, and I think about it, and I also think about the whole struggle that you were born into in '82 with the change from the communist Poland for a capitalist. So you were right in the middle of all these changes, right?
Yeah.
In the western side of Poland.
Yeah. It was a special time for me because I saw the Poland which changed. The communist time was really, really sad. But I remember when I grew up in the flat where we didn't have the water inside. We didn't have a toilet in the flat. I remember when I was a child, we must go for the water 200 meters somewhere to of course it was only cold water, and yeah, it was hard time, but people were very close together each other. They were very close, but after in 90s everything changed because the communist time changed for the capitalism, and the Poland changed too. But still, we have a little the Poland, the west side and east side. It's a little different still.
Yeah.
Many years after this, but it's changed. Now, for example, Lublin is a really beautiful city, and yeah, when 15 years ago, I changed the city for the Krakow, and now I live in the Krakow. I thought 15 years ago that in Lublin I didn't have a perspective for the work, but now everything changed, and I think the east side, they have some money this for the culture, for the, I think the culture, because it's a mixed culture, and now people try to interest, for example, the Belarusian culture and Ukraine culture, but the Lublin, where I grew up, it's a city where this culture mix each other. Yeah.
So I have a question because, and I think we've had similar conversations before, where there's something deeply spiritual about your work, and it's I would dare say that it's a reflection of your inner life, that you're able to capture it through the lens. So being born in Western Poland, surrounded by nature, you mentioned your grandmother. Did all of these elements help you to develop that sensitivity for visual images? And yeah, like you mentioned your grandma. So what role did she play in your life?
You know, mostly when because my mother is from the countryside. It's 70 kilometers from the Lublin, where I grew up, where I was born.
Yeah.
And mostly my parents didn't have money for the holidays, so we mostly spent holidays in my grandmother, and I saw many beautiful things. How you know, it's a totally different life, like in the town. Once I told you on the residency, I was in my mother on the sanatorium because I had a problem with my health, and
Yeah.
I remember I felt that really close connection with the nature. And I remember when I ran away from the sanatorium because my mother was probably she slept, and I ran away from the room and from this building, and I ran away to the forest. And I remember I had probably 5 years old, and I thought, wow, it's something beautiful. I felt free. First time in my life, when I had 5 years old, I felt free there. I felt, wow, how God created the perfectly this nature. And
Yeah.
when all these people from this sanatorium try to find me, I just walked there, and I saw the fence in this forest, the fence, and I thought it's something wrong with this, that this fence is in the forest. It's that some, and now you can find in my work, for example, nature and something which is created from the human. But sometimes, which is these things which are created for the human, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. Sometimes, of course, sometimes the people create beautiful things too, the art and beautiful buildings. But sometimes we put something. We are not live with connect. We don't. We build something which destroyed the nature. Yeah. And first time I remember, I don't have many memories from when I was child, for example, when I 5 years old I was, but I remember this situation. It was really it's very strong stories in my life. And for example, after I show you one photo which is very connect with this story, because you can, on this photo you can see the fence and the white dove. Which,
I think we'll do that. I really want to save some time to go through all the photos, or some of the photos, with you.
And this,
but before we get there, can you tell me who gave you your first camera? How did you fall in love with photography? Who was responsible for that?
It's a second memory in my life, but probably I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, young guy, and I remember my father in the communist time bought the Polaroid camera, but in this time it was really hard to find the film for this camera, or it was really expensive in this time. So my father didn't have film, so didn't take pictures of this. So gave me this camera, the really young child, to me, and I take the pictures without film. Yeah. So it was my first experience with the camera, and yeah, it was. I took the photos without film. Yeah, this photos was only in my head, but I remember the sound of this camera. Yeah. Yeah.
You were 4 or 5 years old. I think many things happen.
My father gave me the big, because it was really big black Polaroid, and just only take the photos. I was really small, and I took the photos without film. And it was first experience with the camera. And some people told that I think for 6 years old, it's really till the six years old, it's really important for the children what they do in their life.
Yeah.
Maybe this situation, maybe that my father gave me this camera, it was very important things in my life. I don't know.
It could be.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you did end up liking it. And do you remember when was the first time that you saw like a printed photography where you said, wow, you can really make a statement with this? Do you have that memory? Or is there a moment where you've started to realize, wow, look what you can actually do with this?
I don't remember when I saw this first time. No, probably I don't remember this situation, and when I saw first time the printed photo, but
okay, so
I don't know. But I remember I had one situation because when I was for example teenager, I thought about travels, about I have some. I thought, okay, it's the perfect life is when I can travel and can take photos. But mostly then I took the portrait. But in my life, my photos, which I took first time when I thought, okay, it's really good, and it was, I think, 10, 11 years.
Yeah, 10, 11? And that one was with film.
Yeah, but it was what is connect with my style. When I discover my style in photography, it was 10 years ago. Yeah, I think. Because before I take the pictures of the people and yeah, I took many photos, different styles. Yeah, but when I discover first time that I would like to take minimalist photos and photos which connect with the symbols, which photo are metaphor. So when I was proud of this, and the first time I had some exhibition. So it was first time when I
How old were you? 11?
10, 11 years ago. So
10 or 11 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you see your earliest photography, what is the feeling? Do you feel like, wow, I have a long way to go? Or do you feel like, wow, what does it feel to see it 10 years after?
When I saw this photo with the people, for example, when I took this photo with the portraits, I feel that it's good portrait too. It's a good photos, but it's because I like people. I like stories of when I meet people, when I can listen some stories about them. So previous experience about when I took the portrait was for me really good because I met many people, and it is really sometimes it's hard to take a portrait where the real portrait when can feel the truth about this man or woman. Yeah, so it's really hard because if you take the pictures of the model, of course you create something, but for me it was really important to find the truth, and it was very important to feel good each other. So I feel that this photo are really good still, this portrait.
I remember someone once said something like, you never know what's behind the smile on people's photographs. And I think when you say, I want to find the truth, your photos really feel very raw, honest, and also there's a lot of patience that goes into the taking of your photography, I think. So let's say, okay, you're 5 years old, you got the camera, you become a teenager. What's happening with you during these years? Like, what's your academic background? Did you go to school? Were you bored with school? You hated mathematics, or what was happening?
Yeah, I study, but it's not, I try to find always my way in my life. And mostly I have in my life I have a really good decision. I choose the good ways, but once it was not very good the way which I choose. It was it was my study. It was economy. And but maybe I don't know. Maybe now because my photography it's my passion. But it's my work too. Maybe I use some things for this study. So maybe it wasn't a very bad decision. But I study economy in Lublin. But it was a really good university.
But how did that feel? Did you feel like, oh, this is not me, I don't belong here, I should be, I run away, like when you ran away when you were 5 years old and you went into the forest? What was the
in this moment probably I didn't know which way to go, because it was a situation in Poland where many people told that economy is something maybe new, which it's something give you the work after this study. So I thought, okay, maybe it's for me. But after now, when I see this way, it wasn't my way. But after this, I study the computer graphic. So it is connect with my style. But in this time when I was a student, I travel a lot, mostly on the east side of Europe. It's like Ukraine, Romania, and I discover some I like the east side the most. When I was student, I traveled on the east side, and now I traveled on the far east, for example, India, Taiwan, and Japan. And always I try to find the life, the culture, which is different than mine.
Before we get there, because I do want to spend some time in that encounter with Asia that not many people are lucky enough to have. So, okay, I totally understand that part about studying economics, and I think it makes a lot of sense, like being born in 1982, Poland, a transition from communism to capitalism. Yeah. You have a lot of weight on your shoulders. My mom wants me to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an economist, right? That there's that pressure. So you finish, you're like, okay, I'm a good son, I'm a good student, here's my economics, but you know what? I want photography. And I think, okay, you were mentioning that during this time you were traveling, and I am, because I have spent a decade of my life in Asia, I no longer can, you know, whenever I'm encounter something that's Asian, I perceive it with those 10 years inside of me, right? But what was it like for you that the encounter that I had with Asia and China was precisely something, it was like everything that I had ever learned, everything that even the language wise, like my brain, I had no background. I had nothing that could connect me to what I was witnessing. And it was a very unique experience for me. I feel my life has enriched so much because I moved to Asia 10 years ago. What was it like for you to encounter, you know, places like Japan and Taiwan and India? What's the impact that it caused on you?
You know, in general, I think about my life that, of course, the roots where I live, for example, in Poland.
Yeah.
The Poland, I feel in Poland that, that it's my place in the world. I really, for example, I like Polish art, for example, because it's special because I was born in 82, in 80s, so I like, for example, the art from the 80s, and I understand this situation, the country where I was born, and I really like it. But when I have some root, I feel the roots in Poland, but I would like to go somewhere. For example, I think the India first when I choose the travel to India, and I thought, okay, I would like to discover something new, because I don't want only think like, because if you live in the Poland, it's a conservative country where the mostly Christian people live here. We don't have, for example, many Muslim, Hindi people, and we don't have people from the different country, because still we don't have many people from the different countries. The mostly Polish people live here. Of course, many tourists come to Krakow, but not many people live here from the different countries. I would like to see how people live, for example, in India, in Japan. So mostly I choose the country where the culture is totally different than mine, because I would like to find my own way. Because if you live only in one country, especially in the very conservative country, it's really hard to find own way, because you grow up in the Poland where everyone goes to the church, everyone's go to, I don't know, life the same, they live the same, and I would like to find my own way, so I can discover many things in India, in Japan, in Taiwan, and I can come to Poland because I would like to. Still, I want to live in Poland because it's my place. But sometimes I can live and in a different style, like different people. Sometimes, you know, for example, when I am photographer and this is my passion and this is my work, but the mostly people think, wow, you probably you take the pictures on the weddings, or you make some commercial things. It's not normal that you take pictures like something can sell into galleries. For people, it's yes. I of course I have a lucky too. I'm a lucky guy because I can do what I like. But I think it's really important to find own way. The mostly we are focused for the yes, because if we see something that, for example, people live different, we can choose something. Of course, it's not we don't have the India or Poland or United States. It's not perfect place. All they have a plus and minus. But it's good to take some plus, for example, some good things, for example, from the India, from United States, from a different country, and choose what you do want to how do you want to live.
Yeah, and I want to ask you, as an artist, specifically about Japan, because there's a lot of minimalism in the work that you do, and but there's minimalism all over Japan, I think. But I also, every time I visit Japan, any place in Japan, I always say this is like a designer's wonderland. Like you're walking and you go through a little store or shop on the street, and it's like they're selling vegetables, and it's they chose how to place each one of those vegetables. They selected the font of the store with love and care. Like that's the feeling that Japan gives me, right? I don't know what living it's like there. I know that visiting as a tourist is amazing, but I always thought about that, like for a designer or an artist, this must be like a wonderland. How was it for you?
Yeah, Japan is for example, that's for me that the Japan and India is my favorite probably destination, because I think the culture is totally different than Polish.
And it's very polarizing between both. Like India is also beautiful, colorful, even the taste of the food, and there's like chaos everywhere, but then you turn your head and then you have these incredible monuments, or the Taj Mahal or whatever. It's like this contrast everywhere. Like it's inspiration everywhere, right?
Yeah, but for example, in my art, in my photography, in Japan, it's really it's not. It's I think it's easy to find some minimalist and some symbolist, because I can find some Zen, some Buddhism, and a different things which are very important in my art, in my photos. But for example, in India, it's really hard to find the minimalism, because it is everywhere is the chaos. But in this chaos, you spend more time, for example, in the India. In this chaos, you can find some peaceful, and some minimalist too. So
that's the beauty of India, I think.
Yeah, but you know, I in the India, I took many photos in India, and the mostly people think, oh no, it's not India, because it's too these photos are very calm and very clean, and the mostly in India it's chaos. Yeah.
Again, it takes someone who has some sort of spiritual connection and understand that Zen feeling inside to be able to find it outside and take that photograph, right? So I'm assuming that growing up in Poland, you grew up, is it as a Catholic? Is that it?
Yeah, Catholic, yeah.
And in your process, I think I relate a lot to this story because, you know, Costa Rica is also like very rural, and then it's very Catholic, and then in your personal spiritual search, what was that? What did this connection with the East give you? I think I remember some 10 years ago or 8 years ago, I walked into a temple in Cambodia, and I structurally, it looked like a church, like a Catholic church, but there were horses with 3 faces and elephants with, you know, and I could see all the story of Buddhism painted on the walls, and I thought to myself, how awkward must it be for them to walk into a Catholic church and think about a guy who died in a cross and resurrected on the 3rd day? As weird as it feels for me to think about, you know, the horse or with the 3 heads or something like that. But then it sort of allows you to go deeper and realize that spirituality, it could be a story, it could be any of those things, but it makes you connect, it still connect to something, right? Yeah. And that's why you're able to find that peace and calm and beautiful photograph in Poland or in Japan or in India. But what did it do for you, spiritually speaking, in your spiritual search or growth, being exposed to India, to Japan, to all these different connotations of spirituality?
You mean, can you repeat the question?
Yeah,
sorry?
Sure. So what, being as a Catholic, being raised Catholic, and then being exposed to all these things that are different, like in India or in Japan, how did that affect you or change you? Or did you grow spiritually speaking because of that experience?
Yeah. You know, I think about spiritual, the religion, of course, is when I grow up, it's my roots because I'm Catholic. I grew up in a Catholic family, but I think a little deeper. I think about some spirituality because, of course, in Poland, it's very conservative, but I believe that we must, if this faith inside us is true, we must find own way, not like a priest in the church told us, okay, you must be every Sunday you must go to the church and pray. Of course it's good too to go to the church every Sunday if you like it, if you feel that it gives you some peace, you know, you feel a good connection with the God, because I believe that the temples, the churches, they have some power. And
and you know what's interesting, and sorry to interrupt you there, that what I felt walking into a Catholic church, I felt it walking into a Buddhist temple in Cambodia or a temple in Japan. That's what surprised me, that is like, oh, that feeling, it's still here.
Yeah, because mostly people go somewhere, for example, to the temple or the church or the different places, and they want to feel harmony inside. They want to connection with the God. Of course, some people, because some people, it's only tradition. It's not like a faith, because the mother, father goes there, so all life they go to the church or the temple, but don't think about why I go there, I feel the atmosphere, that people, the faith of the people sometimes, but sometimes the empty. I feel more the connection with the God when the church or the temple is empty too. So it depends. But the same for me. The nature on the places where
Marcin, I want to talk about all of your accolades, because we talked about that 5-year-old kid, or that kid that was born in 1982 in West Poland, in a Poland that was, you know, a Poland that had suffered many things in the past, and a Poland that was transitioning from communism to capitalism. And that kid who got a camera at 5 years old as a toy. When you look at your accolades, and let me just read some of them. The Grand Prix of the International Fine Art Photography Award in 2013, the Grand Press Photo 2013, Lens Culture Exposure Awards 2014, the International Photography Awards 2014, Chelsea International Fine Art Competition 2014, the Miami Street Photography Festival 2015, New York Photo Festival 2015, Street Photo San Francisco Festival 2016, Giuseppe Sciacca in 2016. What does it feel like to see all of this background? What's the feeling? Wait, I can't hear you.
I'm really happy for this because, you know, of course, when I told you when I was younger, I thought but I would like to travel and I would like to take the photos. So when I remember when I started to take the these minimalistic photos, it was photos for myself, but I didn't thought that okay, probably I will be someone choose my photos for the awards, give me some awards for these photos. It was really personal photos. For example, this photo with a man feeding swans in the snows. When I took this photo, it was photo for myself because I was in this time when I had some bad situation in my life. After this, I have a good, and I thought harmony in life. Bad things give you the good things, and and in this time I thought, okay, I would like to take photo about this. I didn't thought about success. I took this photo for myself. It was a situation when I feel, you know, harmony. I feel harmony in my life. But after that situation in my life, I felt good.
And again, I think it takes someone who's very well connected with that harmony inside, and someone who goes through the pain, and then to finally find that balance.
Yeah.
To be able to shoot that photo you cannot just get a camera and shoot it. Like there's a whole process to get there, and that's what makes you so unique.
Yeah, the mostly when you have some subject with have some your head and what you think inside, then you can do this. Because I took this photo on the bridge where many people, 1,000 people every day goes there, and nobody saw this. But you know, after some people choose my photos and give me some awards. Yeah, it's really important, of course. But the mostly important for me that people feel these photos. But people, of course, the interpretation of these photos can be different because people live in different countries, and people have a different experience. So the interpretation of the photo can be different, but they feel something. That is really
because
important.
I think it was Joseph Ratzinger who once was asked how many paths are there to get to God, and he answered as many as humans there are, you know. But when you go that deep, you're connecting to that something that maybe I connect to from a different point of view, but I can get down there, you know what I mean? So maybe I would see it from a different angle, but I'm still seeing it, right? I want to ask you about two specific moments. So what is it that you did with Starbucks in Manhattan?
Yeah. In Starbucks in Manhattan, yeah? Yes, me?
Yeah. So are your photography, like if I go there now, will I find your photos on the wall?
No. It's I had some exhibition. Yeah, I won some award in New York, and some gallery invite me for the exhibition. But in the same time, I met some people there in United States, in New York, and one guy who I met, he told me, "Oh, maybe you want to show your photo in a Starbucks." You know, it's not now probably it's not place to show my photos, but then I thought, okay, many people see my photo in the few, you know, in the because many people go over to buy the coffee.
And it's in Manhattan.
Yeah, and many people see my photos, and the wall was really nice because it's looks really nice, and I thought, okay, I show my photos there, because sometimes, of course, I try to now, for example, I try to choose the galleries and museums which are good.
Show your art.
Show my art, and with good connection with some installation. I feel I feel these places. Yeah, I must to feel this place to put my photos. But then I thought, okay, I would like to show my photos to many people in this place, commercial place. And when many people show this, many people look at this, and people who didn't know, they are not focused for the photography. And sometimes it's really important too. Many photographers, for example, show the photos on the park, in the park or somewhere in the public places, to show people who don't interest, because the only people who like, for example, photography, like art, go to the museum or go to the to the gallery. But sometimes I want to show my photos in the public places too.
Absolutely. I think it needs to happen.
I think, for example, I think the internet, social media, some photographers don't like to show their photos in the social media. But I think sometimes it's good to show people, because, you know, for example, many people who don't go to the galleries write to me, and you know, I have some stories about my photos. For example, one woman who wrote to me. She wrote to me that, "Thank you, Marcin, for your photos, because my husband is have a schizophrenia, and sometimes when he feel bad, that he put your photos on computer and feel peace, and thank you for this." So this experience, for example, to show people in the public places, in the internet, I think I like to discover what people think about my photos. Yeah, and it's for me it's really strange, because, for example, I like film, I like music, and sometimes music and film change something in my life. For example, my favorite Polish director is Krzysztof Kieślowski. You can see the poster.
Oh.
Yeah, it's this guy. It's my favorite. It's my favorite director, movie director, and
I don't know him, but I had a roommate. He's German, but he used to go to school in Poland, and he tried to get me into Polish films, and we watched some Polish films. There's something very peculiar about Polish humor and Polish film. It's very unique.
I really recommend this Krzysztof Kieślowski. He died, but his films are very deeply, very sensitive, and very spiritual too. But you know, his film changed. When I saw his film, it's little changed my life too. But when people wrote to me that, for example, my photos are very important for them, I was shocked, you know, because I didn't believe that my art can be changed something. I don't know what changed, but some people told me that it's really important for them. So, you know, for me, it's the best award. Yeah, when people write to me that they feel my photos. Yeah, so it's the best award for me.
And well, you say people. The other question that I have for you, I found a photo of you on the internet where you are with the Pope Francesco. So what are you doing with the Pope? First of all, holding your photograph, and what was that moment like?
Because some organization in Vatican choose my photos. I didn't apply there. I didn't apply, but they choose my photos general.
Yeah.
And give me some award. And 1 year later, they wrote to me, okay, Marcin, maybe you come to Vatican once again and you want to meet with the Pope. Okay. Yeah, I like Pope. I think.
So, but did you meet with him personally alone, or where was it like crowded?
We were face to face, but it's not one. It wasn't like a, you know, we didn't were in a.
So what did he say about your photography?
You know, this was very fast, but I told him that I took this photo where he were once year late before. He was like I don't know the name, but it's a meeting of young people with Pope. It was in Krakow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
the World Youth Day or something like that, I think they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we talk about this. Yeah, he told that like Krakow and this atmosphere.
Yeah, but I mean, you could dislike the Vatican or religion or the institution of religion, but I mean, that's the place where Mozart went at 14 years old and he learned by memory a piece that he was not supposed to play outside of the Vatican. That's the place that, it has these museums packed with the best of art history, and they look at you and they say, you're good enough. What does that feel like?
I told you that I do what I feel. So I'm really happy that some people feel that it's something good, that give me some awards. I meet the people who inspired me to, people with the open mind. For example, I think the Pope Francesco, for me, changed a little church for a good way, I think, or open. And that's why I'm really happy to can live, because it's really good to live and meet many people this way, and I to meet many beautiful people inspired me too. But you know, I don't, you know, I like it. It's, it's all, yeah. And if I have some this situation, I think I'm a lucky guy. So but I can be in this place and be in great places like Vatican. I can meet people. I can, you know, sometimes photography open for me the way to choose this. For example, when I travel and some people, I give the visit card for them and then check the website or something. Oh, I know this photo, for example. And
Yeah.
I have the possibility to meet great people because this photography. So I'm a lucky guy.
Let's do something. Can we share your screen and then look at your online portfolio and then look at some of your photos together?
Yeah.
Because I mean, this has been a very unique journey to talk to you about your childhood, that moment when you were 5 years old, that conflict or that development of that, the depth of your spirituality or your inner search, your trips around the world, your success as a photographer. But let's now take a look at those. Let's take a look at those photos.
Yeah.
Okay, so this photo that we're looking at right now was selected by the Huffington Post as one of the 5 best photos of, was it 2013, 2014?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's this photo, man feeding swans in the snow. I told you before about story when I felt I have a little hard situation in my life, and after I make a decision really hard, and after this decision gave me the good things in my life, and I felt that I would like to take a photo about harmony, about some balance in life. So I was walking in Krakow, and I tried to find some place. And in the winter time, when I was walking in a bridge in Krakow, Grunwaldzki Bridge, I saw this light side and dark side. It's a river in the Krakow and snow, the left side. Yeah, and I was waiting for some situation. And when I saw this, no, it's a man or woman feeding swans, and I thought, okay, it looks like a yin-yang symbol, Chinese yin-yang symbol. And I felt that it's a good photo, but I published this on the internet. You know, it was crazy time, and many people shared this, and many magazines.
So the impressive thing is that it's not staged.
No.
And there's so much symbolism about it. It's the black and the white, and the white swans in the black lake, but also the person is his or her clothes looks also black, but there's a path that you can track. It took effort to walk all the way there. And I think that you could write a whole book about, you know, that path, that journey from sadness to joy to balance to harmony. I had one of my mentors who passed away a couple of years ago, and he used to say, Erick, darkness is shining too.
Yeah.
And that's what I see there.
Yeah. It's really interesting that some people tell me that, okay, when I see this photo, I feel hope. But some people, for example, tell me that feel depressed a little when see these photos because they feel alone, loneliness. So it depends what people feel and what they have an experience in their life,
Mm-hmm. So, and I think in the end, life is a mixture of those things, right?
Yeah.
I think the next photo, if I'm correct, I think that's Hiroshima.
Yeah.
And it's a phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah.
And again, it's not a photo that was staged at all. It was just being in the right place at the right time.
You know, I was when I was in Hiroshima. It was 7 years ago. I was in the museum about this story when sad story when the American dropped for the Hiroshima, the mostly city was destroyed and many people died. But I saw the monument of the girl. The name of this girl was Sadako. Sadako was 12 years old. When the doctor told her that he has a illness, sickness. She didn't die when the American dropped the bombs, but she was sick. But in the hospital, she heard some story about 1,000 cranes. The people from Japan believe that if you make 1,000 cranes, your life changed for better. So
like origami
cranes. Yeah, origami cranes. And she started make origami cranes. She made 644, but she died. But the children from her class made 356 and put these cranes, origami cranes, to her 1,000 cranes to her grave. And Sadako now in Japan is a symbol of hope, but hope and peace. And her sculpture monuments, children from around the world come there and put 1,000 cranes near her monument. And this story was for me was very really hard, and I thought it's very strong. So one day later, I saw the panorama of Hiroshima. You can see the buildings of Hiroshima, and I saw the few cranes, and I was waiting 3-4 hours there, and yeah, I caught this moment. Mostly in my photos, I waited many hours for this situation.
Mm-hmm. It's a big statement, right? A city that suffered so much standing, and then the element of the crane, the phoenix rising from the ashes, and it's just so many elements into one. Let's go to the next photo. I think it's called The Forest. I don't know the story of this one. It's jaw-dropping. Is the lady pregnant? Where is this?
No. I took this photo. For example, I told you about India, but sometimes it's when in this chaos you feel peace. You can find some minimalist situation. For example, I took this photo in India. Yeah, it was windy day. The back was the ocean, and this is calm. And yeah, I think it was wind, and this lady looks like pregnant, but she wasn't pregnant.
So how long did it take you to find this perfect place? Or what's the process for a photo like this one? You're walking through India, there's all of these things going on around, but Marcin looks at this and says, okay, here it is.
Yeah, I see when I saw this strong light, I saw these trees. For me, it looks like a little strange, without empty space on the back. And I thought, okay, it's this place, and I was waiting there for a good situation.
There's something magical about it. It's like a fairyland. It's like a made up stage.
Yeah.
But it's real. It's a real moment.
Yeah. Many people think, for example, this photo, a man feeding swans in the snow, or this, or different, which I show you later. People think that it's fake. Yeah, it's like when I do it in Photoshop. Yeah, but all photos are real.
Let's look at the next one. It's called Liberation.
Yeah, I told you about the story when I was a young guy, when I ran away to the forest, and I saw in the forest, I saw the fence. Fence, yeah. So for me, it was like a little, I thought that it's not a good place for this in the forest. But the story about this, because this bird, this dove, white dove, is a symbol of freedom, and you can see these fence which are a little destroyed here. Where is the bird? Yeah. But on the back, if you can see the snow, it's the place where people play in the tennis, but it was in the winter. That's why.
Was this shot in Poland?
Yeah, it's in Poland, Krakow. Yeah. So it's probably this situation when I was young guy. Probably that's why I took this photo. Probably, I think.
Yeah. That one is called Out of the Gray. Is that correct?
Yeah. So this photo.
And where is this?
In Paris. The mostly people think that it's a Middle East, but I took this photo in the Paris. The mostly you can see the border on my photos. Border when someone goes from gray or dark side to the white side. Yeah, for me it's a little metaphor of sometimes about the borders inside us. Yeah, sometimes we choose the way. Before I told you that I choose, for example, the economic studies not a positive way for me, but it's which way we choose in our life, for example, and what we have some borders in our side. So sometimes we must destroy these borders inside us. It's like a metaphorical photos.
Do you actually have one called Border? If you keep scrolling down, and I think it's the border of Kiev in Ukraine.
Yeah. So you can see the simple mostly in my photos you can see the simple lines, geometry, shapes. Yeah, that's why you can feel this atmosphere of the minimalist photos.
Mm-hmm. Where is this one we're looking at?
I took this photo in Portugal.
Can we see? There's a photo that's called Battle with some goats. Can we see that one?
Yeah.
There it is. So how in the world did you take this photo? What's the story behind this one?
Yeah, I took this photo in Taiwan. It's a part of Taiwan, but it's an island, not a big island, which but it's a small Taiwan island. It's the name is Lanyu, where live the Aboriginal people, which were before the people from China comes to the Taiwan. looks like little like Philippines people, and yeah, it's really windy island, and you can see on this photo the weather change, and you can see this stones or which protect the island from the wave. And, yeah, and you can see here the goat, which the black and white. It's of course it's referred to the yin yang symbol, but you can see, for example, dark goat which want to fight, and white which is more peaceful, yeah, and watch this dark goat, yeah.
There's another photo there's one that's called Running. Where did you shoot that one?
Running, I took this photo in India too. Yeah, so it was really hot day, sunny day.
And what are the black lines there?
Yeah, this is sort of like a door, like a cage. When I was very close to this cage, yeah, and this girl was far away, and the sun was really hard. It was 12 o'clock, and you know that's why it's really white, because the sun it was sand. Yeah, she ran on the sand, and the sun was really strong. That's why this girl looks like they run in the space. Yeah, without floor. Yeah.
I think most people are shocked to know that you're not using Photoshop.
Yeah, I use the sun. You know that the sun is really important in photography, and sometimes people for example, at 12 o'clock they don't take photos then. But I use this strong sand for example to to take minimalist photos. It's good time.
Let's look at your color photos. When did you start doing color?
You know, my first photo, maybe I show you. My first color photo, this one. It was first photo which I took this in this style. It's a little referred to the geometry. Yeah, this symbolism.
In India, is this in India?
Yeah, in India. The name is the United States of India. And
I think it's not for free that such a colorful country brought you to inspire you to take colorful photos.
Yeah, of course. But this was first the photo which I thought, okay, I like portrait, for example, but I would like to take something more. I would like to tell something more. And for example, when I took this photo, which looks like American flag, and I saw this man who meditate, and I show the two words. For example, the American, which people go over to because they want to have more money, they want to find
the American dream,
better work, American dream. Yeah, it's more capitalism world, but the people think about Far East like of course it's.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna find this guy in the streets of Ohio.
Yeah, and this place is in Varanasi near the Ganges River, and I thought, okay, I would like to take this kind of photos. Yeah, and it was 10 years or 11 years ago, and after I took, I come back to this place. And I took it a little different. It was Varanasi too, but it's a different place. but one
now it looks more like the flag.
Oh yeah, American flag. Some woman put on the steps some material.
So you didn't do that
to dry it, and
that's just somebody randomly is drying a piece of cloth on the stairs.
Yeah. Because
wow.
Yeah, because you can. Here is the place where is the Ganges. Yeah, and after this, she.
You know, I don't think it's for free. I think if you have a little bit of a belief that there's something bigger than you and I, something happened for you to be there at that time and discover this, because this just says too much. It's the flag of it's the American flag. It's the flag of the United States. And if I see that guy, it's almost like an immigrant that's trying to get in, crossing the border or something like that.
Yeah.
But what is shocking, Marcin, is that you did not stage this. You just discover it.
Yeah.
So how many years after the first photo that you just showed us did you take this one?
5-6 years later. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was different because the metaphor of this is different because when was connected with two words like more capitalism and more spiritual. Yeah, for example, like in India. But here I thought because it was time when Donald Trump told that he want to build the wall between the United States and Mexico, and everywhere in the news was information about refugees, and Donald Trump told that he don't want to people refugees in the United States. The same situation was in the Poland. Mostly Poland, the president told that he don't want to refugees in Poland. He told that we want to only Ukraine people from Ukraine. Yeah, it was a little sad because the situation, and I thought that I would like
because the perfect photo for the perfect time. Yeah.
And I was waiting, for example, 5 hours, and I was looking for someone who looks like a refugee.
Because and how far are you?
How far?
Yeah.
How far?
Like, what's the distance between you and the actual stairs? Yeah.
It was like 5 meters, or I don't know, because I don't remember, but it was like the steps, and after was.
So you have one more photo, right?
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, here you can see the woman, and in the back, you can see the child, the hands of the child, and the legs, small leg here. Yeah, it's like a symbol of this refugees people. That the woman with the children comes to the other countries for the better life, yeah, and run away from the war, for example, from Syria. Yeah. So
there's one photo called Reflection.
Yeah. I took this photo in Krakow from the same bridge where I took the photos and feeding swans in the snow.
Oh.
Yeah. But looks, it's really ugly bridge in Krakow. It's really ugly, but for me, have a special energy. I feel this special energy of this place. So I took many photos there. And yeah, I took this photo from this bridge, and you can see the many people don't know what is it on the left side. It's ice on the on the river and fresh snow. It looks like a, I don't know.
And this is in Krakow again, is it?
Yeah, and Krakow again, in the same place where I took this photo.
With the swans.
Yeah.
What about a photo that's called Out of the Herd? Where do you take that one? I like that one a lot because it's about, like, what it says to me is like you need to. What it says to me is you need to learn how to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, I took this photo in Portugal. Yeah, when I saw this herd, and I saw this this animals, and I thought, okay, this show you it's a metaphor of my life too, but I travel a lot. We talk about this, and I try to find my own way. I don't want to go the same way how people choose the same. For example, that I would like to find my own way, not to go with the different people. Of course, I can learn something from the different people, and I can take for myself something. But it's really important to find own way. And it's a little metaphor about my life.
Okay. So I remember before you started working with co-residency, you were still living in Krakow, and then you broke your leg. I don't remember how you broke your leg. And then you went back to the west side of Poland, and that's where you are right now, right? And you're reconnecting with your hometown. So tell me a little bit about what happened there. I remember you said, how did you break your leg, first of all?
Yeah, it was in December. I came to my parents' home in the east side of Poland, where I was born. It was Christmas time, and I just walked, and I broke my leg on a. I just walk, and I fall down, and I broke my leg. Yeah, it's a stupid thing, but yeah, I didn't broke my leg in my motorcycle or on the bicycle. I just walk. It was
so just like when you were 4 or 5 years old, you were in the sanatorium or the hospital, and you just ran away into the forest and then went to spend the summer at grandma's. Now that you're an adult, you break your leg in the east side of Poland, and you're like, I'm out of here. I'm going back to my grandma's hometown, and that's where you are now. So there's something healing about the east of Poland, I guess, with you. It's your root, right?
It's my roots. Yes, it was and in this time when I had spent in my home. In my parents' home, because I had a broken vertebra. I spent more than 2 months, and after I came to Krakow, come back to Krakow, and started the pandemic time. So I spent a lot of time in the home, in the flat. But when closed the forest, when closed the park, and I thought, okay, I don't want to spend time in Krakow, and so it's time to come back to the east side, but not my parents' home, but to countryside. But my parents have a small home, wooden home in a countryside and near the lake. So I thought, okay, it's a good place to be closer to nature.
And that's where you've been spending your lockdown time, right?
Yeah.
So I remember the work that you are doing with co-residency. It's you're actually visiting this woman in your hometown that are going every morning to do their prayers ritual. and it's a long lost tradition, but they're keeping it alive even in the pandemic times. Am I right? Am I describing this correctly?
Yeah, it's when I come back to this place, I to the countryside, I saw the women who pray. It's a very long tradition in Poland. They pray near the temples in the road in the evening time, and I saw in this woman who had mask, and they had the mask at distance. I'll show you maybe some photos. 1 second.
And I remember you had one of our worries, or your worries, was that, you know, this woman might be too shy, or, you know, they would feel awkward if they had someone just taking photographs of them, right, randomly. So yeah. What has that been like? Did you talk to them, or did you explain what you do, or?
Do you see these photos now?
No, I cannot. I'm still looking at the herd, out of the herd.
Okay, once again. So I share the photos. Do you see?
Yeah. So yeah. So these are some of the photos you've been working with, right?
Yeah. So. Yes, firstly I thought, okay, it's a problem with this because it's a pandemic time, and mostly this woman probably afraid me because I'm stranger, and you know, it was a little problem with this because this woman thought that maybe I'm from government or from newspaper or from TV. They afraid me because mostly in this time they can't do it. But I when I spend a lot of time there, I come back in the same places and ask people where can I find it. They trust me and spend a lot of time in many places. I spent time and it was really good discovery for me because I spent a lot of time with older people, and sometimes it's really important to know something. I spent a lot of time with the nature, and this connection of the spirituality, this connection with the older people in this nature, for me was really great experience, especially in this place. Mostly the travelers and photographers tell, okay, I would like to take some photos in my country when I will be older. It was really good time to take these photos because, you know.
So usually they are inside of a chapel, right? So because of the pandemic, they put a cross outside. Is that correct?
You know, they spent near the chapel in some it's a special traditional rituals. Especially yes. In the May, mostly the women pray there. It's like they pray for to Maria, Saint Mary.
Yep.
It's a connection of specific connection with the woman who pray to woman, and you know, it's a little. They put many flowers near the cross or these temples, and they pray for example, for good health, and they pray for good, for it's a little, this Saint Mary is a little like, for me, it's like a metaphor of mother of nature, yeah? Little.
Yeah.
Connection with the women and who pray to women, and but it's all things, all these meetings are near the nature.
Yeah.
it's very specific. It's not in some temples or churches where is the pope or the priest are. There's little for me underground meetings. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's specific in this time when in pandemic time. I think it was a little, yes, really underground.
Yeah.
You can see this place where I am here.
Oh, it's very close to the border. Yeah.
Yeah, but I traveled by car really close to the Belarusian and Ukrainian border, and all these things, all these temples are really close to the nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lake. It's a lake where it's a small house by my parents, where I and still I'm here. Near the houses, these temples. You know, it was really interesting because I discovered something in this place where I was born, because I was born in Lublin, in the city. I spent a lot of time in the countryside in my grandmother places, but my grandmother, she passed away, and I didn't have a connection with the countryside many years. So now I discovered still these villages looks like many years, how looks like still the same.
Yeah.
In this, because the Poland changed a lot, because it's a totally, you know, for example, in the west side or different part of Poland, the change looks like totally different. But still on the near the east side, look the types. Yeah, so it's some notes from residency when I send you every week.
Yeah.
And you know, I show you some specific atmosphere, a small town near this villages, where you can see some traditional cultures, because in this area is many lakes, and you can
And
see
they put a mask on the sculpture.
yeah, it's really interesting that the local people put the mask into the mouth, this fisherman, and it's like information. We have a pandemic time now, and it's really interesting. You can see the flag, the Poland. You can see the monument, people who died, was killed in the Second War. And you can see there's some shops with some sweets and coffee. They sell.
So this is also because of the pandemic. They need to do it on a car like this, or
no? You know, this
is usually like this.
It's a market. It's every Sunday.
Oh, got it. Like a farmer's market.
Yeah, it's a local market, and they sell some things from the cars. You have the same, and you can buy the pillow, there's some clothes, you know, many things. And at the same time, we had the presidential election in Poland. Yeah, it was a little hard situation because it was pandemic time, but the politics fight each other in this moment. I think it's time to focus for economic things, for the health of people who fight each other. But yeah, it was time. Yeah, mostly the woman comes for this places to pray or sing the songs. Mostly they sing the songs. But before, many all religions comes there and pray and sing the songs. And some woman told me some stories. But for example, the men when villages died mostly, and there is 20 widows there, and they pray over there.
And then here you have younger generations being introduced to.
But you know, it's mostly it's an old woman, and they told me, no, probably we are last generation because young people don't take over. But if here you can see this child and her mother.
Yeah.
But
so is that their house, and then they have the little temple in front of the house?
So that is the house one of this woman, but they pray only near this cross near the road.
Got it. It's interesting because in places like here in, I don't know, Thailand, most of the houses have a little Buddhist shrine, and people, you know, pray to it and
inside,
in the mornings, or bring offerings to it, and it's to protect the home also.
Yeah, you know, in Poland, only the mostly people put the cross inside or some paintings, but they don't have like small temples in house. Yeah, you can see, for example, here old photos. It's this photos.
The same tradition, right?
Yeah, took the Zofia Rydet. Zofia Rydet is a Polish photographer. She died, but she took about 20,000 photos.
But it's funny because this is many years ago, but it was still old woman doing it.
Yeah.
I wonder if they used to say they were the last generation to do it.
Maybe. But you can see some young. Yeah,
how far is this? And excuse me, because my geography is not very good with Poland, but how far is it from Wadowice?
From
Wado, I don't know how do you pronounce it. Wadowice?
It's about 400 kilometers from Wadowice. Wadowice is quite close to Krakow.
Okay.
Yeah, they pray for good health and for many things they pray, and they sometimes kiss the cross. But still, you know, on the pandemic times, they had a distance about 2 meters.
What is, do you know, the meaning of the colors of those ribbons on the cross?
You know, they want to put very many colors, like colors of the nature, the flowers, for example. It's connected with this. It's not have a special meaning. For example, this red it's connect with the colors of the nature. For example, you have see on the back yellow flowers, and yellow is you can see on this temple too. For example, you know, the people who cross go near the cross, they put off the hats.
Yeah.
And these places, you know, it's really special places. It's really wild. I saw many beautiful animals there, and I feel that we live very close to nature. And
And I think this one, there you can see there's a storm in the back. It's raining. Right.
Yeah. And this woman told me many stories about her life. Yeah, you can see, sometimes it's only cross and it's beautiful nature, but without houses. But for example, at 6 p.m., the women come there. They mostly come to buy bicycle and pray in this place, for example. That's a really vital area.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have some, very old book, and sometimes the songs are very old, or you can find it. For example, these songs in the books on the internet, because they create these songs, for example, in somewhere in, and these photos, these songs have some story from these villages. And one from this woman told me, "Thank you very much that you take this photos, because I don't know that when we died in this place, someone happened that the people in the next generation continue this ritual."
I think, well, I'm thinking obviously about I cannot help but making parallels with my upbringing, or Costa Rica being very conservative or very Catholic as well. But I remember particularly my grandmother's sister, her older sister, she died very old. She lived a wonderful life, a peaceful life. And she died every day at 3 p.m. She would make this prayer, and it was a Polish prayer from, I think her name is Sor Faustina. And she made the prayer, and she went to take a nap, and then she never woke up. But I think it's so, I mean, the fact that that devotion traveled all the way from Poland to my grandmother's older sister, in times where there were no internet, it's just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, for me, it's really interesting, but because I can find this ritual in the different parts of Poland. So when I talk with these people, they told me that the east side is more conservative too. But when I talk with these people, they are open-minded. It's a little, they have felt that they want to pray for ourselves. Of course, this woman go to the church too, but they think a little different way.
Yeah, and I think even if you don't want to institutionalize it within, I think what's incredible about your photos is all the intentions and all that, if you want to say it, energy that you bring in there. People feel it. I mean, that is a real, that's something that's tangible. You can feel it through the images, and I think, I mean, this is a different conversation, but I think what we feel, what we think about, has more power than we think. So the fact that there's a woman in Poland praying for the goodness of others, or monks in Sri Lanka praying for the goodness of the world, has had to have some impact in the goodness that we live, right?
Yeah. But this woman was a little, think first they don't trust me because they thought, why the young guy comes somewhere in the the end of the Poland near the borders, and why he interested about this spiritual things. They didn't trust firstly. They didn't trust me. Why young people? One young guy comes here from Krakow because they saw the numbers from Krakow in my car, and they thought, something's wrong. Something is wrong here. But after when I told them about my life, I told that I was born in Lublin and that I had my grandmother and my family, the woman from the family in the countryside make, so they sing the songs too, like her, this woman. So they trust me and I take this photo. And
yeah. I want to go to her kitchen and sit down with her and have a coffee and talk.
Yes, she was little. She told me about, all people told me about some stories about when they opened for me. They told me some stories about her children, about her husbands. Yeah, they have a really, really hard life, people, because when it was Second War, the German comes there and kill many people. Many people live in the east side of Poland, Jewish people, and was killed in Maidan. It's like Auschwitz. But Polish people too. And now when I talk with them about the COVID, about this pandemic time, they mostly told me, sorry, but of course it's a new situation for us. But when we had experience about war, this situation is not strong for us. We are really strong, because the war is something really wrong. It's really, really hard and something it's really hard and really bad experience in our life. But now we don't care about much about this pandemic, about this virus. But this is not a very touristical place. So people know each other, and most of these people don't travel. The young people goes to somewhere to abroad for the work, but these old people don't travel there, so they don't scared about this virus. Maybe they little scared about me because I'm a stranger. But I think they are not very scared about this because they are very strong. Yeah, you can see beautiful nature everywhere. But I discovered something new because this temples, this meeting and sing songs near the temples is the Catholic tradition. Yeah, but I discovered more about Orthodox rituals and some, because before I didn't know a lot about this, but I tried to find something more about Orthodox tradition. So I was, for example, in this place like Repubblica, connect with the pandemic, because it's when Poland was a pandemic time. It was probably, I don't remember, sorry, it's 1710, and was when it's cholera epidemic in Poland. And one guy have a dream about that God told him that he must go to the mountain, small mountain, the cross, wooden cross on the top. And then cholera illness go away. People from this whole villages go to the people about this dream, and all people go over to the mountain and see the cross on the top, and cholera illness has disappeared, pandemic disappeared. Many people believe this, and now many people go over and put this cross on the top of the mountain. There is an Orthodox temple there, and they come there to pray, for example, for health. You can see, for example, two women pray in the night. There is thousands of crosses.
Wow.
But I took the photos it's not like when the comes, but it's some ritual with the priest, where the priest comes to the places and he blessing the health, nature, he blessing the nature, and some villages come there and pray with him. You can see like this, yeah? And he blessing the temple, blessing the people.
I think there's somebody who once said that the biggest achievement of last century was not technological, but the fact that the East and the West got closer. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the East and the West got closer is part of the reason why I'm here. And also that's you as a Polish man who can travel to India and take those photos in Japan and see and find all that. For example, in this case, the spirituality in both places, it's a bridge, right? Because I'm not exactly sure how these people would react to the teachings of some of the Buddhist people that you photograph. Mm-hmm. But somehow you're bringing that closer together. And when you see the black and the white and the lines being crossed and all of this, it's about seeing that there, even though it looks different, there's difference in the way you're expressing it. Mm-hmm. There is one unique connection there somewhere, right? You are expressing your spirituality, you're expressing your belief that there's something bigger than you. And I think you've been, you have a very unique gift to express your inner world through that lens. I would like to finish this by asking you some questions. Would that be okay? Like some quick fire questions. Unless I don't know if you wanted to show me more of this section before, if you want to finish something here, we can do that. And if not, then I'll just like to ask you some of those quick fire questions. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I would like to only tell you about funny stories about this.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, because when I take the pictures of this this ritual with the priest, when I come there and I saw the people who pray, and I saw this umbrella, but before was rain, but people put something. It's an umbrella with the name of the beer.
Yeah.
And they put this umbrella.
I'm not sure this is approved by the Vatican.
Yeah, this priest told me, please don't take a photo for me. But I told him, sorry, but I came here. Please, can I take this photo? He told, okay, it's a specific, but we can pray for the God everywhere. Of course, it doesn't matter. It's a advertisement of the beer. And I took this photo. Yeah, I would like to. I took the photo when I took the photos of the songs, because you know, probably the many songs I can't find the books. So I would like to have this word of the songs for the new generation. Yeah, maybe I show someone if it's true, but it's the last one generation. I would like to have some photos of this song, because to show people these songs and what time in pandemic time, yeah? Yep. How people pray in this moment.
Can you go back? What is, there's a kid hiding behind the tree.
Yeah. You can see this guy. Yeah. He was a little shy.
That's a great photo. He's looking straight at the camera, isn't he?
But it was really funny because I compare. It's a really, you know, it's the villages on the end of the world. Yeah, it's nowhere. It's the road ends there, and I met this woman. This woman was really great and told me, okay, no problem to take some photos and sing the songs. But this guy, this boy was still shy. But yeah, it was a really great time with these people. They are very, very open for me. I would like to come back to these places, and I would like to give these photos for these people.
Yeah, that would be great. That's what I was thinking when I saw the photo of the old woman walking out. The one that I told you I would love to have coffee with.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, you should give her the photo. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to show something, because about residency, I have some plan about this.
Yeah.
I think it's some tradition in Orthodox Christian. It's they put some paintings, they put some photos and some cross on the trees.
Yeah.
For example, you can see like this.
Yeah.
After residency, I would like to print these photos, and I would like to put these photos in the old frames, and I would like to find some old tree, but tree probably which is broken, yeah, something like this. And I would like to put these photos with old women who pray to Saint Mary. I would like to put on the
tree,
broken trees, yeah, in the old frames. I would like to know. It's like a gallery for me, for example. It looks like a gallery.
Yeah.
I would like to put somewhere in the space where someone who walked there will be, shocked what happened here. And I would like to link these photos there somewhere.
That would be beautiful. Yeah. And again, it would be a merge of an Orthodox versus Catholic tradition somehow.
Yeah.
Crossing the lines, and that would be great.
They use the nature for the exposed there's some religion things, and I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see beautiful Orthodox temples.
Yeah.
Mostly they are hidden somewhere in the forest or somewhere in the mountains. And the color have some meaning too of this churches. Yeah, you can see the man. The most people, the man goes to the church, not for the seeing stone. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to visit Poland too. That's what I feel. That's what this experience with co-residency has been great too, because we're confined to our spaces and we cannot travel anywhere. But if anything, I've rediscovered, or I've discovered many places that I would love to visit in person.
Yeah.
Rural Poland it's becoming one of them.
I'm happy.
I think this is a personal question off the record. I don't think this is gonna make it on the video, but I personally would love to ask you, like, what's the figure of Karol Wojtyla like in Poland nowadays, 2020? Because to me personally, he remains to be some person that had a huge impact in my life. Every time I go back home, I visit a church that has a relic that has a little bit of his blood, and I always pray there. Mm-hmm. So my connection to Poland has always been through him and his history and his biography. And so who is Karol Wojtyla to you and to Poland now in 2020?
Because I study in a new university in Poland,
yeah,
where the Karol Wojtyla was the professor before he were the Pope, and he's a professor over. Of course, I was too young to this moment. I didn't study that, but for people in Poland, I think Karol Wojtyla is a little symbol. He gives us in the hard time, in communist time, like give the hope for people in Poland that we can be free. That's why I think the mostly they choose the mostly probably maybe the Karol Wojtyla, because Poland was really bad situation, and I think hope us to be free. What changed in the communist time changed in 89. Yeah, and probably Karol Wojtyla also. Yeah, I think Karol Wojtyla is first pope who was more open for the people who travel a lot. He was first pope who was close to people. Now that still, the big person in Poland, but sometimes times change. Yeah. Some people think that Pope was, some people of course, that Karol Wojtyla was too conservative. For example, like Francesco. Pope Francisco,
it's more
open, yeah. But I think the Karol Wojtyla was a good pope, also for the Polish. it was really we hope us for to be in
what I love about your photos and what you're sharing is that I can't wait but think that this is part of what he experienced growing up. Obviously, he experienced awful things like his mother dying, his brother dying, World War II. But this part of faith, this expression of faith, is part of what he experienced too. And his devotion to Mary was also, you know, it was a big mark in his work as a pope, right? So I can see a lot of him in this, or a lot of this in him. So the other question that I've had, and again about crossing the lines, and this is again more of a personal question, as a person who was raised in a very conservative place, but also a very Catholic place, I still believe myself to be a spiritual person, and I still have very strong ties to my Catholic self. But I also happen to be a gay man, right? So there's a lot of lines that are crossing there. And I had to learn how to navigate and make the most of it. Say, you know what, I do believe in all these things. I do believe in the goodness of my spirit and all of these things, but at the same time, I this is who I am, right? So I don't know where is Poland standing with these kind of things in such a conservative society. How does it how is this addressed there?
You know, I think many people try to find a way, for example, and many people, for example, in religion, for example, Polish church, it's of course it's one church, but for some part of church it's a conservative, but another way is very open-minded, yeah. And of course, and we have a different point of view in the church too. And the same in the Poland, some people are very open. Yeah, so open for new people. They want new people, new from different countries. They want to refugees, and they are open for the gay, lesbian, but some people are still very, very conservative on the bad way. For example, we had election in a few 1-2 weeks ago. Yeah, and the politics, I think they use the fear, the fear of something new, you know. So new people who comes to the Poland, people have they are lesbian or LGBT. That's why they scared them. They use this in the politics. For me, was really sad that the moment where we have not good situation, not only in Poland but all over the world, in this pandemic time, the economy is not really good in the moment. How the COVID checks what happened. The mostly people vote the conservative, the president they told about LGBT. So for me, they use the fear, older people, to LGBT, and it was really sad that it was the main subject. If this election, this time there was election for the president.
Yeah.
The man who won the election is more conservative, yes. But Poland is 50-50. The guy, more liberal guy who they lose only 1% in Poland.
Yeah.
And you know, the Poland, the 50-50, the 50% of people want to more conservative Poland. They don't want more. They want still conservative Poland, but 50% wants to more open-minded. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the reason why I asked that is obviously because I was raised in this environment with all of this spirituality around me, that it's still part of my life. It's still part of who I am. But if I were to see the world with those divisions that they are presenting us with, now that I'm an adult, I know that I can, just like you said, I think earlier, like you don't need to go to a temple to discover it. You can discover this in other places. I mean, if you want to find it in the church, great. But the fact that that is something that's important to me, but there was a moment in my history where I felt alienated from it. Like I would love to walk into this church that you have on your screen and sit down and pray. And the fact that someone is saying, no, you're not good enough. No, you don't deserve it. No, you're not welcome here. It's such a big statement if you are a kid, if you're 15 years old, if you're 10 years old, and that's what you're hearing. If we knew the damage that we're causing, I don't think any of these people are bad, but I think when you start crossing those lines, making those worlds at least see each other, when you see the other, when you at least can see it, you humanize it, and when you humanize it, you add feelings to it, and then you end up seeing it from another point of view. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you some quick fire questions. This is inspired by James Lipton. Used to be the host of the Actors Studio, and he died this year. And every time he finished an interview, he asked these 10 questions. And he took it from a French TV host called Bernard Pivot, but ultimately he took it from the Proust questionnaire. So this is our twist on the Proust questionnaire. We just added some questions here and there for you. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and you tell me whatever comes to your head. Okay. Who is your favorite artist or photographer?
My favorite artist is Krzysztof Kieślowski, director. Yeah, maybe I like really the David Lynch. Yeah, because they use the symbolism and special words. That's why I think it's good director.
Who is your favorite hero or heroine, fiction or non-fiction?
I think I don't want looking far away, but my parents, I think.
What's your favorite word and your least favorite word?
Favorite is love, and opposite, I think, hate and kill.
What turns you on and what turns you off?
On, discover, unknown, I think.
And off?
Lack of harmony and chaos in my head.
What sound or noise do you love, and what sound or noise do you hate?
The sounds of dolphins and Wallace.
The sound of what?
That Wallace and dolphins.
Oh, yeah. You love that one.
Yeah, and Tibetan gongs. I like it. I love it.
And what sound do you hate?
I think scratching the blackboard.
The what? I'm sorry?
Scratching, you know.
Oh, yeah, like a chalkboard. Oh, yeah, I hate it too. What's your favorite place in the world?
India and Poland too, but India, yeah. To travel, yeah.
What inspires you to continue doing your work?
I think peaceful and discover beauty in ordinary things. Discovering beauty in the ordinary things.
And what's your idea of happiness and your idea of hate or misery? What's your idea of happiness and what's your idea of misery?
Love and do what you love.
Yes, love and doing what you love. And what's misery?
Life without
economics. What's misery for you?
Life without love.
What does this global crisis mean to you?
It shows us that we must more respect the nature, because we are part of the nature, and I think it's this moment when we must think that for the next generation we must care about nature, I think, because that's why maybe this COVID exists, because we don't trust others.
Can you complete these sentences for me? Art is.
For me, it's a spiritual experience. It's a meditation for me too. Yeah, and I think maybe the universal language. So.
Art allows me to.
Better person.
Without art,
I'm empty.
This has been an incredible conversation from that 5-year-old who got a camera and flew away from that sanatorium into the woods to your experience as a photographer, as a successful photographer. There's a depth to who you are that I invite you to continue to connect with and explore, because when you manifest it through photography, great things happen. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you very much for this